The only issue is that, while demanding superstar money on her podcast, Angel Reese went 5 for 13 in her next unrivaled game, with one shot hitting the bottom of the backboard. Our follow-up performance a few days later was a masterclass in missing shots. Some might even call it a BRICKLAYING clinic. It's like a greatest hits collection of missed layups. I can't even believe this is real. 2 different videos are now circulating online. It's unbelievable. Let's break down the comedy you're watching from Because I'm Here and I'm Saying, if you don't give us what we want. It's like we said no. I guarantee you the intelligent folks and plenty in the WNBA are saying, well, you all benefited from everything. Y'all youngins benefited from nil. What does that mean? We deserve more. Have you ever wondered what would happen if a WNBA player threatened to shut down the entire league? Angel Reese did just that in a recent episode of her podcast, See Without Apology. Dropped what may have been the most bold ultimatum in league history. She not only suggested changes to the league's pay structure, but she also threatened to take her ball and leave if her demands weren't met. If they don't give us what we want, we're sitting out. This is the same person who actually claimed that she didn't know what her WNBA salary was and that it didn't even cover her rent. Let's talk numbers for a moment. Yeah, Reese's rookie contract pays her roughly $73,000 in her first year, which is part of a 4-year deal worth about $325,000. In a TikTok tirade, Angel herself claimed that her salary doesn't even cover her basic expenses. She said plainly, the WNBA doesn't pay my bills at all. I don't even think that pays one of my bills, she said, literally. I'm going to do the math quickly. It might cover def covers that. What is my salary? The financial gap is even more obvious when you take into account Ree's revelation about her $8,000 monthly rent, which comes to $96,000 annually on housing alone. This is the kind of tone-deaf attitude that isn't appealing to her fans. No, my R is more than that. This 8,000 and I am living beyond my... What's really interesting about this situation is that instead of backing down after her podcast comments gained traction, Reese took to social media to reiterate her boycott threat. She's actually prepared to sit out if her financial demands aren't met. Don't give us what we want. We're sitting out. Which is why sometimes you should have someone listen to a podcast. I understand. That's how negotiations work in a CBA, not on a podcast, but this is where Ree's argument takes a turn for the worse. She expressed her frustration that future rookies like Juju Watkins, who will join the league in 2026 or 2027, might make more than she does. The ones who arrived this year will still be under the rookie contract again, and the ones who are going to get more the year after will likely be making more than us. There is a basic misconception about how WNBA contracts operate, but the women who are joining this year will still be on rookie contracts, and the ones who will be making more money the year after will likely be making more than us. They say, yeah, I've been in the meetings, but it seems like Reese is unaware of the simple fact that she signed a standard rookie scale contract that locks her in for 4 years until 2027. This is how collective bargaining agreements work in professional sports. So even if the WNBA negotiates a new CBA that raises rookie salaries, Reese would be constrained by the terms of her current contract. Her boycott threat effectively asked the league to rip up a legally binding agreement because she is unhappy with it now and will be envious of the new rookies under the new CBA. For example, if I were an NBA owner, I wouldn't have become wealthy by squandering a couple $1 million on something that has no chance at making money. So these two sit down and watch what happens. Personally, I would miss watching the Fever and Caitlin Clark, but I wouldn't miss anything else. This disconnect becomes even more problematic when you consider the WNBA's financial reality despite record viewership. And when you make bold demands, you better have the performance to support them. This begs the crucial question: does Angel Reese's on-court performance justify special treatment that no other player in the league receives? After all, the league lost about $40 million last season, and the economic foundation isn't there to support the kind of mid-contract renegotiation that Rat seems to be demanding. You lost 40 to 50 million. You know, who would clap for you all sitting out the NBA so they don't have to subsidize your dumbasses to the tune of 40 to 50 million a year? As if the basketball universe wanted to directly address Angel's ill, her very next game turned into what can only be described as a layup clinic, albeit not the kind that anyone would pay to attend, just days after making her audacious salary demands. Angel Reese stepped onto the unrivaled league court to Aaliyah Boston's vinyl, while shooting within 5 feet from the basket be the exception to contractual rules that apply to everyone else final, because the clock has not made a three-pointer turnaround. No good final third and three-point field goals, and Reese looks to stick with it as it back. Basketball club and what followed became internet gold for all the wrong reasons. Last night, Angel Reese had one of the worst shooting performances in basketball history. I mean, what the hell is going on? I know her team won, but I get it. 5 of 13 from the field, 13 rebounds. 5 offensive rebounds, and only 10 points. Let's not forget about that 5 for 13 shooting performance. Professional basketball players are expected to make layups. It's basketball 101. The most shocking moment occurred when one of her layup attempts somehow ended up hitting the bottom of the backboard, not the rim or the net. That's the kind of shot you'd expect from someone who has never touched a basketball before, not from someone who feels they should get paid more. This is the same player who recently stated that if they don't pay them to be in the WNBA, we're sitting out. I mean, after repeatedly witnessing her miss routine layups, I'm like, how the hell can this happen?
The sequence was nearly agonizing to watch, with several attempts right under the basket, point-blank range.
These are the kind of shots that players have been practicing since elementary school, and somehow they weren't falling, one after another, clanking off the rim or missing completely, while defenders unable to believe their luck. Grabbed the rebounds and got it up on the cleanup power dribble to spark the internet, which naturally had a field day as videos of these missed layups went viral. Comments brimming with sarcasm that said things like, "She is so overrated and recently won. I've seen make a layup look hard, guys. How many times have I said she should be there? Should be no, she shouldn't be practicing. How jumpers from nowhere. I mean, she ought to be just layup after layup after layup, because let's be honest, a lot of the heat she takes is because of this, and it's because it's not to be believed some comments that were posted under videos of her break. Astute fans even pointed out that Reese had grabbed 2 offensive rebounds on several possessions when she missed her layups, which sparked rumors that she was purposefully missing shots to end play. Her rebounding statistics give rise to a conspiracy theory that truly makes you stop and consider your thoughts. Say whatever you want about Angel Reese, but you can't tell me she isn't the star every show. Every time she's on the court. I can't even be critical of this. She's Larry, Moe, and Curly all at once, the 3 stows. Wow, come on. I believe the worst part is Lisa Leslie risking her legacy. The timing couldn't have been worse. Imagine going into your boss's office demanding a raise and then immediately failing at the most basic aspect of your job. That's basically what happened here. The discrepancy between Reese's salary demands and her actual performance became impossible to ignore. It's crazy that some players can struggle with shooting, but still contribute in other ways that justify higher salaries. It's difficult to argue that you're getting paid too little when you're missing point-blank layups that hit the backboard. Also, 5% from the field? Who in the world watches a player who is essentially grabbing her own rebounds from her own missed shots? Basketball performances speak loudly, but TV ratings scream even louder. Angel Reese keeps praising her contributions to women's basketball, but when viewership drops from over 300,000 to less than 100,000, perhaps it's time to improve those layups before demanding a larger salary. Let's talk about the elephant in the arena. Angel Reese has positioned herself as a cornerstone of women's basketball's rising popularity. She has positioned herself as must-see TV and driving force and surge in interest. The image she has cultivated through social media and press appearances suggests she believes fans are tuning in specifically to watch her play. Yes, the reason we watch women's basketball isn't just because of one person. It's because of me, too, and I want you all to understand that. But the unmatched league where Reese currently plays tells a story that contradicts her self-evaluation. After a promising debut, interest has steadily nosedived to record lows under "this isn't just a slight dip." It's a free fall that suggests fans aren't rushing to their screens when Angel plays, but her attention, her notoriety is based on Caitlin Clark because she wins the national title. The first thing she does is mock Caitlin Clark, and she doesn't even celebrate with her teammates. The reality check becomes even more brutal when you find that an unrivaled game featuring Reese couldn't even outperform a college basketball matchup between UCLA and Nebraska on the Big Ten Network. When your professional league game draws fewer viewers than a college game, it raises serious questions about your supposed star power. Yes, it is unrivaled, but it's also unwatched. Let's be honest, we can sugarcoat it all we want, but if you don't have Caitlin Clark playing women's basketball, or if you're not in the NCAA tournament playing women's basketball, you have nothing at all. The Unmatched League WNBA attendance figures show that games with Caitlin Clark consistently attract larger crowds than those with Reese as the main attraction. The empty seats speak as loudly as Nealon ratings, and both are expressing the same thing about who is actually making a difference in women's basketball. If you truly want to go into business, you need to pay some money. You made absolutely nothing, and you haven't really improved the league Caitlin Clark has. Whether we like it or not, 90% of this renewed interest is actually based on a single player. Clark takes a very different approach to her position in the league, who obsesses over contract negotiations and salary demands. Instead of claiming credit for the WNBA current success, Clark shows genuine appreciation for the league's current trajectory. For I think the place right now, and I think that most people would not believe it's in that position. I'm not big on comparing the WNBA and the NBA, which I don't really think is fair. But I think people don't even think we'd be here now. So I think it's difficult for me to respond when they ask me where I think it'll be in 5 years. In my opinion, Scott is the limit. You look at our TV numbers, when we're on national television, we're averaging over 1 million viewers or whatever it is. All started at, I think it was over 4 million viewers, which is just a really great number. The more opportunities we're given, the more I believe it will shine and improve. And better, I believe that the talent level in college is also getting much better. And as those players enter the league, it will continue to get better. We're adding 2 new teams next year, and then probably another team after that. I think that additional games will be good because it would lengthen the season a little bit more. One player issues an ultimatum, while another thanks them. One threatens boycotts, and the other focuses on improvement. Clark isn't resting on her laurels or demanding recognition. According to reports, as she's spending her offseason, if I were funding this league, I would say, all right, hold on, you got a golden goose, in reference to Caitlin Clark's physical transformation, preparation for her sophomore campaign. This contrast and approach reveal 2 very different understandings of professional sports. One player believes her value comes from perceived star power and should be compensated accordingly regardless of performance, while the other recognizes that true value emerges from continuous improvement, consistent results, and genuine contribution to team success. We ask who is really driving the newfound popularity in women's basketball ticket sales and viewership numbers. The data points to Clark as the player who consistently draws fans to arenas and viewers to broadcasts, not Reese as the viewership magnet. These individuals who are hitting Caitlin Clark and talking as though they are as important as Caitlin Clark are hurting our opportunity and the brand. The main driver of women's basketball's current surge in popularity isn't personal opinion or preference. Rather, it's what the viewership and attendance statistics consistently show across a variety of metrics and platforms. Thank you. But that's not what you did. You told me, I think they're going to get more than us. I deserve more. But shut up. The real story of women's basketball's growth is staring us in the face with hard data. While one player quietly draws record crowds and viewership, while another demands more money through threats. Forward for women's basketball isn't paved with podcast threats or social media demands. Rather, it's built through the kind of authenticity and skill that actually fills arenas possesses. Contrast is striking humility versus entitlement, substance versus spectacle, and the numbers don't lie, revealing exactly who's driving this new era of women's basketball fans. Put it plainly, if I were an NBA owner, I would miss watching the Fever and Caitlin Clark. I wouldn't miss anything else. Do you believe Reese will ever change? Let us know in the comments, subscribe, and turn on all alerts so you don't miss anything. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the following one.